In this video, I'll walk you through each step of how to make authentic wood-fired pizza in just 37 minutes. The secret is a very special wood-burning oven. Handcrafted in the countryside of France, the oven is made of heavy steel to last a lifetime, and it uses an 1 1/8 inch thick baking stone that's made in a remote 100-year-old factory. Unlike heavy brick ovens, the unique steel and baking stone design makes perfect wood-fired pizzas, but it's still light enough to move around easily. Here you can see an 11-year-old moving the oven back and forth. Okay, let's start the timer and get going. Heating up the wood-burning pizza oven is like starting any other fire. We take scrap cardboard, newspaper, and some very dry kindling wood and stack it up in the firebox. It might take a match or two to get it started, but once the paper catches on fire, everything should move ahead very easily. I'm adding a little more cardboard to get it going faster. Ideally, I want the fire centered in the middle of the firebox, but when I'm just getting started, it doesn't matter where the fire goes. It can always be moved to the center later. I'll add a little air to get going faster. Some more fuel. Because the fire's not hot yet, I can rearrange the wood to maximize the burning. And there it goes. As the flames increase, I'll keep adding more and more fuel. The firebox is a little bit smoky when you first get started, but once the fire heats up, that smoke will disappear. Now you can see how the fire is wrapping around the firestone. A little more fanning for more oxygen. And some more fuel. Now that the fire's going, I'm going to close the baking compartment and go make some pizza dough. This is a very simple recipe that only takes 5 minutes. I start with just a few cups of flour, just estimating it. Make a well. Add a little bit of yeast. About a tablespoon is fine. Warm water. Mix. And then a little bit of sea salt. Truth be told, it doesn't really matter what order you combine the ingredients. Just make sure you have enough salt and enough water to make a reasonably stiff dough. As you can see here, I'm adding more water just to thin it out a little bit. I start mixing it by hand. I knead the dough enough within the bowl to pull the flour off the sides. A little too much water, so it's sticky. I need to add a little more flour. Working a little bit more to pull it together. Try to clean off my hands in the bowl as much as possible. Teeny bit of flour just to loosen it off the sides. And now I'll make a little bit of room to get the dough out on the board. A little flour to keep it from sticking. And now I'll knead it until it gets really elastic. It's a really simple process, not hard at all, not much you can really mess up. As long as the dough is soft enough to work and roll out the pizza, you'll be fine. I'm adding a little more flour just to tighten up the dough a little bit. Make sure the moisture on the board is coming back into the dough ball, so I'm making good use of all my ingredients. The dough is getting less and less sticky. It's coming together. At 3.5 minutes, we're getting pretty close. Teeny bit more flour. Now it's starting to look good. You notice I keep flipping it and turning it. This is standard dough kneading procedure. With a little bit of practice, it goes really easily. There we go. Going a little faster now. So I've got it done. I'm going to split this into two. I'm just approximating the size. I've got a full 16-inch by 16-inch baking area on the oven, so size isn't really that important. And I'm using the old dinner roll rolling technique that I learned in an Italian bakery to round them out. A little flour on top to keep the cloth from sticking. And we're done. Back at the oven, everything is burning nicely. You can see that wood really burning well. I'll give it a little more fanning just to keep it getting as hot as quickly as possible. We're right at 10.5 minutes. Now you can see how the fire is getting hotter, and I'm adding a little bit of lump charcoal. Charcoal helps make the fire hotter and also a little more even temperature. You can use charcoal briquettes. It doesn't really matter what kind or brand. Just throw some in there. In theory, you could run the whole oven with coal alone, but I choose to use a mix. Now let's add the thermometer to see how the temperature is doing. This is just a regular conventional oven thermometer that you get from Walmart. I'm just setting it in there to give the viewer a sense of how quickly the oven heats up. You can see by the gauge it's only 100, 200 degrees. We'll close that back up and let it burn for a while and then check again. Now we're into this project 16 minutes. Let's close up the firebox. We'll take a look at the temperature again. You can see it's up to about 250, say. Let's let it burn a little bit more. degrees. Keep it going strong. A little more fuel. So, whoop, there goes my charcoal. Now we're at about 20 minutes into our adventure. Let's take a look at the temperature. Now we're getting just past 400 degrees, which means it's time to go ahead and start working on the pizzas. So I'm back at my dough. You can see they've risen quite well. I used warm water and a fair amount of yeast. I'll divide them up. Make sure the board is well floured. There's a little bit of sticky flour from before. I'm going to clean that off. Use my pastry cutter to very carefully get the risen dough off the board. Now, there are a lot of ways to make a pizza. I use the Italian traditional way of punching out the center and making a slight crust around the edges. And then I use this flipping method. You could toss it too, but this is very easy. It's hard to see in the picture, but I'm actually rotating the dough as I'm flipping it back and forth. Now I'm going to use cornmeal to make sure the pizza dough doesn't stick to the pizza peel. This is stainless steel. Comes with the pizza oven if you decide to buy one. Making the pizza good. This is the first pizza I've made in about a year and a half, so you can see I didn't get it on the peel very well, but it's easy to stretch out. We're making a rustic style pizza, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Just spread it over the peel. This peel is a really nice size because it fits in line with the baking surface of the actual baking stone in the oven. Now, if this was a French pizza, tarte flambe, you would have sour cream, onion, and ham. We're going to make the traditional Italian style. Normally I'd make a sauce, but I'm doing shortcuts today and just taking some crushed tomatoes out of the can and sprinkling on the dough. All this time the oven is getting hotter and hotter. So I hope by the time I get the pizza outside, fire will be ready to put in. A little pepper, black pepper. Let's see what else. A little bit of sea salt. Well, it's Himalayan salt. And here I'm using just some mixed shredded Italian cheeses. I think it has Asiago, a little bit of Parmesan, mozzarella. Works out really well. You can tell I spelled cheese on the edge of the crust. That's not really the best way to make a pizza. You'll see how when it comes out, it leaves a little bit of burnt cheese marks, but it'll still taste really good. Give it a nice coat of that. Clean up the cheese a little bit. Of course, organic extra virgin olive oil on top. Pretty liberal dose. And there we have some oregano. We'll throw it on top. Fresh basil works great. Now I've got some mushrooms, and in my rush to do this video, I didn't wash them or brush the sterilized dirt off of them. Forgive me. But at 500 to 600 degrees, it'll kill anything that's on them. There we go. So now we're at 29 minutes. The pizza's outside and ready to go into the oven. Let's check the temperature. And we've looked at it. We're somewhere between 500 and 600 degrees, which is perfect. It could be a little hotter. I'm going to take the thermometer out. Of course, there's no room for the thermometer in the pizza. And I'll slide the pizza I just made carefully onto the stone. There's plenty of room in there. It's very forgiving. Close the door. And wait. Now this is about 3-4 minutes. You can see the crust already rising. Looks okay. So we'll close it up. Wait another minute or two. We're at 34 minutes. You can see it's going by very fast. Open up. Here, take a look at the pizza. We'll lift it off the stone. It comes off very easily, and take a look at it. Yeah, it's looking good, but it's not quite done. Remember, the first pizza is being baked on the stone just as it's starting to heat up, so it might take a little bit longer than the second, third, or fourth. And I'm giving it a little bit of spin just to make sure it cooks evenly on all sides. It's really easy. Wait another minute or two. Now, if you look at it, can you see how the cheese is bubbling there? I mean, it's really hot. The crust is starting to really puff up and look nice. Boy, it's looking delicious already. You can see how the little shreds of cheese have turned dark brown. Now that one's almost done, but I'm going to turn it around. The back of the oven is always warmer than the front. That's in most pizza ovens, but especially wood-fired. I'm going to flip it around, see how the golden brown part is in the front now and the lighter part's in the back. Here again, I haven't made pizza for a while, so it's not quite as simple as normal. And there it is, 37 minutes out. Beautiful pizza, baked, hot, ready to eat. Throw it on the board. You can see we'll see the crust is perfectly cooked. These pizzas taste fantastic, not just because of the cooking stone, but the smoke aroma that surrounds the pizza. You can see light. Look at the crust. Now that you've had a chance to see the pizzas cooked in these awesome ovens, I wanted to point out 4 things that make these pizza ovens very special and unique. The first is that they deliver true wood-fired results, just like the Italian brick ovens, but they're very fast to heat up and cook. Doesn't take hours to get them warm. You saw we got the pizza from start to finish in just 37 minutes. They're completely portable, much lighter than brick. You can push them around inside a garage, outside of a lean-to. If you have a business, they can go in and outside of the restaurant, no problem. And they're of the highest quality, made in France, very strong steel, a very heavy-duty baking stone that makes these pizzas just fantastic. If we can be of any other service or answer any questions, please contact me at www.wood-pizza-ovens.com.